this portfolio, truthfully, she's not lying about her profile. So that is why documenting your process, documenting the things you're doing from day one is very, very important. So you do not just start. I understand some people, when they start, they feel, oh, what I have is not enough. You go on LinkedIn and you're seeing somebody celebrate 20 years as a PM, that's product manager, and you're like, I'm just starting. I don't think it's the right time to put this up, right? So we are going to get to know when is the right time to start building your portfolio, when is the right time to start building your profile. Now, to delve into that, when you talk of building your profile, building your portfolio, there is no wrong time, right? So if we are saying there is no wrong time and we reverse it the other way around, it means that any time is the right time. Now, the earlier you start, the better for you. So how do you start? Do you wait? Some people say, okay, I will start, let me wait, possibly after secondary school, I'll start. And boom, you come online and see that a child of 10 years is coding, has been coding for 2 years, and you're like, eh? And then you are still waiting. Okay, so let me see, maybe after my service, right? But then people younger, people older as well are getting to build their profile. They're getting to build their portfolio. So I usually tell people, the earlier you start, your years start counting. So for instance, you start going to design as at 2020 and you've been consistent till now, right? So if we are counting your years of experience in that field, we'll be right to say you've been in that field for 4 years, right? Is that right? So I want to believe we are following and we totally understand that. So the earlier you start, the better for you. I know of students who are in school and they are still, learning one tech skill or the other. Some of them are already earning because they started learning and they started acquiring the skill long before that time. So it is very important. Now, when you have learned all this, you have your profile talking about you, your professional, description and all of that. And then you've been able to document the project you've worked on. You've showed us evidence via maybe screenshots, or maybe you showed us different websites you've built in case of a web developer. I've worked with this, I've worked with this team, and we're actually seeing clear evidence. People go back to, confirm these details, so you better not lie. People go back to your previous employers. Oh, we have this and this on XYZ person's profile or portfolio. And it's stating that this person worked in your company and this person was able to achieve XYZ. Do you think this was true? And if it was true, could you give us a summary of the person's, behavior, attitude, and all of that? So having the skill is one thing. And most importantly, having the right attitude and having the soft skill is another thing. Remember that the totality of your profile, your portfolio, is not just about your normal technical skill. Your soft skills and all of that adds up to your totality as a professional individual. Okay, so quickly, now that you have all these, right, let's get to understand what profile optimization talks about. So now we've come to profile optimization. How do you optimize your profile? Is there even a need to optimize the profile in the first place? Yes, of course, there is need to optimize your profile. So let's take this instance of, let me, not to mention names, though I would really love for clarity, but let's take an instance where a pastor, we all know that he's a pastor, does full-time pastor job and all of that. Everybody knows it. And then you go to the person's profile, maybe on LinkedIn, and there is nothing religious about this person. Everything is stating something, abstract, something outside. And in your mind, you're like, everybody knows him to, be in this area of religious or something close. So why is it not appearing? And sometimes some people be like, am I sure? Am I sure I am in the right page? Am I sure that this is the owner of the page? And sometimes you could be tempted to like search further to see if you are in the right place, or is this a kind of scammer account? So all of these things, because you already have your mind about this person, because of the person's portfolio, because of the person's track record, and all of that. So it is very important for you to optimize your profile. Optimizing your profile will help you to be visible. It will help you to gain credibility. And of course, potential employers, clients as well, yes, in case of a freelancer, they will easily see you. So take, for instance, you are into, let's say, data analysis, and somebody comes up and like, okay, goes on LinkedIn, a tech recruiter, because we have a lot of them on LinkedIn now, and goes and started searching for data analyst before a particular job role, and nothing about you pops up, because you didn't optimize your page or your profile to show that you are a data analyst. So it is very important to use your keywords. When I say keywords, those things that have to do with data analyst, even while optimizing in terms of what you do. Oh, I've worked in XYZ company, and as a data analyst, this and these are the things I was able to do. So let people be able to see that you actually performed those duties and you have documented it. They can see your journey. So I mean, do not feel somehow posting all through your journey. In fact, your journey, the story, makes people build more credibility. So now let's take an instance where we have person A and we have person B. Person A on profile, right, on LinkedIn, has been posting about his or her journey for a long time, maybe say 5 years. And we could see when the person posted, oh, I just started my journey as I just started my journey as a designer, and this is my first design. And we could see that it was nothing, it was not like nice. Of course, it may not really be nice, it may be nice, depending. And then the next time we are seeing the whole sequence of different posts that the person has been making, the growth process. I know there is this funny video that is going viral, and a lot of people are doing these days, where they said, I think Ada was dark, and when Ada bleached, right, you now see the fine version of the person, right? So some people, we get to see their work when they have not yet bleached, which is totally fine, because as a recruiter, it gives me this courage that, oh, this person has been consistent all the while in this journey. That is for person A, right? Now we have a person B who just opened a LinkedIn account, and then the next thing the person is posting is, I have been a data or a designer for 8 years, and all of a sudden you just want to post all the job, all the work. So people will be like, okay, so is it that this is actually his work, or he just framed this up? There is that, because that record is not really there, right? While after a while, people will understand that, okay, truly, possibly the person has been doing, but then it's going to take a longer time to build that credibility, where people get to trust you, trust the service you can deliver, trust your, credibility, and all of that. So optimizing your profile will really go well for you. Now, what do you do while you're optimizing your profile? Of course, when you're optimizing your profile, you use your professional name, like your normal name, when it has to do with your professional, social media platforms, right? And also, talking about that, we need to be careful of the things you put out, because at the end of the day, people use what they see on your page or on your other social media accounts, even outside LinkedIn, to rate your personality. A lot of recruiters do that a lot, but they will never tell you. And then they see some things that are, doesn't speak well of you as a person. Now, not in terms of skills or anything, but then they notice you have some very indecent way of behavior, or maybe you have a very, you speak words that you're not supposed to speak. Like, I mean, when you go through some people's pages, you get to see those things, and you're like, I really don't think this person's, vision in life will align with our company's own. So sometimes you have all the skills, you have everything, and you're like, so why are they not picking me? You keep getting rejection mail. Some people do not know, but this, in a way, contributes. So you also have to be careful. Sometimes think twice before you put. Now, not to say you cannot have a social life. Of course, you can have your social life, but not every part of your social life should be online, especially if you're painting yourself as a professional in a particular field. But if you're going as a celebrity, skit maker, or whatever, it's all good. So it all depends on how do you want people to see you. You put it down in writing, you put it down in action, and all of it counts up for you on your profile. So just before I continue, if you have questions, just put it down on the comment section or on the chat session, sorry. I'll take out time after everything to go through it. So it is very important to optimize your page. Of course, I talked about the name. You also have to put what you're doing in terms of your skill, or maybe some other things you just want people to know. And then also you can start posting, writing content about, what you're doing. Some people are not very good at writing content, but then if you have to gain visibility, you have to keep showing. So what I mean by showing is, if you stop going to a particular place, for instance, there is this whole thing of out of sight is out of mind. Yeah. So if you stop going to a particular place for a while, they'll still be calling you to check on you once. But then after a while, people tend to, the call to check on you will reduce. So it's still the same scenario online. So how well do you want to keep coming up? How well do you want your presence to show? How well do you want to be able to network with other professionals and everything? So it is very, very important when you're optimizing your profile. Okay, so there is also this SEO, that search engine optimization, that helps people, to easily get to see you or easily get to see your company. Because now, talking of profile optimization, a company as well can have a profile. So if you have a brand, you can, of course, optimize your brand profile online so people can be able to see you. So now we've been able to understand what profile optimization is about. And if you want to delve deeper into it, you may consider taking a few courses on content writing and possibly SEO. That will help you. You don't necessarily need to practice. You could just get some of those skills because you want to use it personally. But if you still want to make money out of it, there are really good skills that you can make money out of. So I've actually had a lot of things, a lot of different areas that I've learned without practicing it. So it's just for personal use. So all of these things will add up to your totality. It will add up to building your whole mindset and how you use the soft skills that you have. So before we go further, we say what happens when you optimize your profile. So we will talk more about this when we get to discussion part. I think I've addressed that previously, but then I'll still want to hear from us during the summary session. So we'll move on to the next thing. Now, also, when you have optimized your profile, when you have been able to document the things you've done, when you've been able to put it out as well after documentation and people can see, you keep learning so you can be a voice in that particular area. What does that translate into? That translates into the fact that you are in step one and you are ready for a job. So now let's talk about job readiness. Job readiness. So job readiness, there are a lot of things. So it's not just the day that you see the post for a particular job advert and you remember, this job advert I'm seeing here, I think I've learned design once, and they're looking for a designer and they're going to pay $500 per hour, and you're like, I can apply for this job. No, job readiness is not the day you see the job advert. You prepare, you make out plans, you plan ahead for it. What's the dream job? What field would you want to? What are the steps you take into, going into that field? I'm talking more of tech and tech part because basically I'm in the tech field. But somehow these things also apply to every other areas of our lives, just in case we have people who are not in the tech field here. For the tech field, of course, we have the coding and we have the non-coding courses. So you must not code to be in tech. I hope we really do get that clear. Now, for job readiness, your profile is important. Your professional personality is important. And then also the different things that you've done, your project, documenting it, as I said earlier, is very important. Now, when you have done this and you've been able to reach that part where you say, okay, I can start applying for professional jobs. Now, not to quote me wrong, it doesn't mean that you cannot apply maybe when you finish a training, but then you will know the role you apply for. You see internship, right? You see beginner level roles. So you don't feel, oh, I've always been applying for roles and like they're not taking me. You also have to check your capacity or your capability at a time, right? It all adds up to what we are talking about, the job readiness. How ready are you to do this job? How prepared are you? And now, talking of preparation, there are some things we would look out for. And now, that brings us here. What does preparation actually involve, right? So preparation involves getting adequate skills to back up your career, right? So it's not to go and do one particular training and you think you've had it all. No, you actually have to gain different skills, learn from different, trainers, get mentorship from different mentors, because these people have been there before you. And if you're just doing one training, yes, of course, your trainer will try to give you the much he or she can give, but they can't give you everything. And then today, because of internet, we have a lot of platforms, We know of YouTube, we know of Udemy, we know of Coursera, Allison, and a whole lot of others that you can get to learn these skills and keep adding up. Now, there is something tricky, right? There are some skills that when you still have to learn some other related skills, right? That will add up to you being a professional in that field. So let me bring it to a very good example where we can relate. So now, if you say you are into HR, for instance, right? There are soft skills you need to know. There are HR skills you need to know. But beyond the whole entire HR skills, there is need for you to learn a bit of accounting because of payroll. There is need for you to, learn leadership and a whole lot of things which you will combine to make you a professional in the career path you've chosen. Right. So I really do hope we understand up to that point. Now, what else does preparation involve? And you're still thinking about this. It involves professional certifications. Yes. While people say the certificate is not that important, well, the main thing is not like the certificate is not important, but the skill is more important because some recruiters may not necessarily ask for those certificates. They may just say, do this task, let's see what you can do. But then certificates are like, a proof that, okay, I went through this, I completed, and I've been certified by this professional body. I've been certified by this team. I've been certified by that team. So it builds that credibility. And of course, it adds up to your entire CV your, people post about it. Oh, I've learned this, and this is what I can show for. Okay, so also joining professional bodies is very, very key. So in terms of bringing it on to HR, which you can also relate to your field as well, you need to belong to some professional bodies. For instance, CIPM, which is a Chartered Institute of Professional Management. You also have to be able to belong to different professional bodies. And then for each skills, some of them have their strong professional bodies, some do not have. So if your particular field may not necessarily have a professional body, you can as well gain just the skills, the certification, and keep building or keep talking about what you do. Keep helping others that are coming up to grow. Sincerely help them, because in the process of helping people fix in the process of helping people navigate through those difficulties they're having as a beginner, you get to pick up one or two more knowledge. I mean, I hope we all know that things are changing every day. So now we have optimizing your online presence and standing out from others. It's also very, very important. So it all adds up to the part of preparation, and then writing about what you do. Yes, you don't necessarily need to be a professional writer, but you can write, and there are a lot of AI tools now that can fine-tune your writing. Of course, people know the popular one, ChatGPT, but then there are other AI tools, there's Quiltbot. There are other ones that people can use to just fine-tune your writing. But I'm not saying you should just go and like pick up things from AI and you just dump it to people. People are wiser now, so let it come from within, right? You could use Grammarly to make sure your errors are being corrected and all of that. So the preparation involves also writing about what you do, documenting what you do, and all of that. Guiding and mentoring others in your field. I mean, you've gone 1 year and somebody is starting day one, and they're asking you a question and you're feeling too big to answer. You're also doing yourself, because in a way, if you have answered that question and the person keeps coming back and others keep asking, you build a kind of should I say professionalism in that area. It will also give you this sense of responsibility that, oh, I have other people looking up to me. And because other people are looking up to me, I need to learn more, so I'll be able to transfer that knowledge. So do not feel, too uncomfortable helping other people. It's also a learning platform for you. So of course, you need to join communities and network with people. So if you say you are a photographer and you're just on your own, oh, I don't want their issues, I don't want their problem. You could go for maybe one of your events and you see somebody using the same camera you've been using, and then the person is, using a particular button or doing a particular settings that you were not aware of. So it is very important to network with people in your field. Sometimes they get to even share job adverts, and sometimes because they know one or two persons in that community know that you are good at this, and then they get to hear, oh, there is this vacancy and we need somebody to do XYZ for us, and then they will remember, oh, this guy is good, Daniel is really good in this, let me reach out to Daniel. So there is this part of recommendation. There is this part where you get to learn as a member, you get to understand things, you get to also aspire, because to me, I feel it's also a kind of motivation for me. When I see what someone else is doing, I'm like, wow, this is great. You can do it too. So that is why you are there, to learn, to network, to be part of a community. And of course, these communities are like people in your same field. It could also be people outside your field, but then you'll be more focused on people in your same field. If you want to learn a particular skill and maybe still dive into some other little skills, of course, you can belong to other communities as well. But please do not, try to have something that people know you for. Like I mentioned earlier, I have some other skills. I know I've learned product management and some other ones, but it's really not something that I like to put up, right? Because I want to build my profile and portfolio around a certain career path, which is HR, customer service, and of course, virtual assistant. So you can pick your niche and focus. And please do not learn in 2024 and think that what you learned in January 2024 is enough for you to take you through December 2024 and you're still current. Technology and things around the world changes every single day. So try to do your more research. Try to ask questions. Try to ask mentors, or what's happening. See how you can learn more courses online, on site, at least opportunities that you can learn. So lifetime learning and upskilling is very, very important. Now, by the time you have, done all of this, and maybe not even up to all of this, you can actually create your CV. So what will add up to your CV? Imagine creating a blank CV, no experience, no education, no skills, no nothing. So what can you offer us? That's going to be the typical question on your interviewer's mind. So why are you here? What can you do for us? And you are trying to explain, but they're like, but it's not here. It's nowhere to be found on your CV. So creating your CV, comes up when you have all of these things to be able to put into your CV. Now, I'm not saying you must be a pro before you create your CV. You can start little by little. So some people say, but I've been applying for a job and nobody is taking me so I can have experience. I mean, I'm just out of school. Where do I get experience from? Thank God for technology. Thank God for the tech ecosystem. Now, there are a lot of volunteers and communities you can join, and they want to do an event. Oh, I'll volunteer to do this. I'm a designer. Don't worry, I'll take care of your design, right? And you could pay me minimal. Of course, you use data, right? So you could volunteer, no matter the little penny you're getting, it's just still adding up. Because at the end of the day, that is what you will have to show for. So now in creating your CV, some people will be wondering, so what do you mean by CV? I'm totally new to this and I do not understand what this lady is saying. So what is CV, please? Now let's look at what we mean by CV. Of course, it's usually a short form and it's very professional. People use it a lot. It's curriculum, it shows, it provides like a summary of your skills, your experience, and it also talks more about you. So unlike resume that is usually shorter, your CV can be more lengthy, but then there are some things you need to consider while organizing your CV. Your CV, of course, you need to consider the font that you're using, right? So most times it's advisable to not use a signature kind of font, all those funny designing looking type. So you could consider the likes of Calibri, Arial, Times New Roman. Those are really, very professional fonts you can use. You can as well, the body shouldn't be that big, shouldn't be that small. That's your text. Shouldn't be too big and like people are like, okay, and then it ends up consuming so much space. So you could stick to fonts 11, 12, depending, that's the font size, depending on the font type you're using. So some of these fonts, if you're using a particular font, you notice that for 12, let's say you're using size 12 for Calibri, it may be a bit bigger than that of Times New Roman. So you also need to consider it. Of course, in your CV, your work experience should be there, your education should be there, your skills, and maybe professional bodies you're into, certifications, maybe some awards. So CV actually gives room for all of that. But then if you're talking of resume, it's a more brief description of what than a CV. So now when the heading, of course, you can consider the heading size to be 4 to 6 times larger than the other text fonts. Basically, so because it is like the main thing, your name, the likes of your name and your career, like your professional, your skills and all of that. The name, of course, is going to be the biggest, or should I say, yes, in terms of size, is going to be the largest on your CV. So there are also some things you need to pay attention to. So what format? Some people are like, what format do I use? Some companies have their different formats that you can use. They'll say, okay, use Word. They have their reason, because some of them use some applications that filters the CV, and maybe that particular application accepts Word documents. So if they say use Word, please stick to Word, right? If they say use this particular, change it to JPEG, however they want you, please stick to instructions. Most times, HR managers have reasons why they give some instructions on what to do. Now, when you are applying for a job, right, some people have the same CV. It's the same CV they will use to apply as a PM. It's the same CV they will use to apply as a designer. It's the same CV because you have these different skills, right? So now, when you are applying for a job, pay attention to some things. You know, when a company puts up a job advert, you see their requirements. There are also some things like skills and everything. So you have to, you know, tweak your CV to make sure that it captures the keywords that are on that their requirement, right? So for instance, now, they said a designer, we are looking out for a designer who uses Figma for design and all of that. And you use Figma, you know how to use Figma. So why not put it, worked on XYZ projects, you know, using Figma as a tool? That's a keyword, right? It's one of the things they will look at. So if you say I've worked on different projects designing, and they're like, okay, did you use Canva to design? What is this person using to design? And not everybody is patient. So just so you know, not everybody is patient to dig deep, right? So while you're putting out your CV, the keywords should be there. You also have to be very clear and concise. Don't be, you know, going up and down. Be clear. Like one line, short, professional, and let it pass the message. Communicating your writing professionally and for people to understand. Now, when I say professionally, it doesn't mean you have to go and be using big words and think that some HRs will have time to go and look for dictionary because of you. No, nobody has that time there. I mean, sometimes we could receive a whole lot of CVs and you think because of it, they have to carry dictionary. No. So keep it simple, keep it professional. Now, there are some different areas that if you are in those areas, like a particular, let's say engineering, for instance, it may involve you using those your engineering terms, those technical terms, which is fine. Why I'm saying it's fine is because even if your recruiter is not an engineer, right, being that they have requirements, they're going to look through it. Like I said before, some of those things that they need on their requirement should be on your CV. And then, of course, during the interview process, they will definitely get an engineer to review one or two things about you. So that's the truth. That's why sometimes when you go for an interview, you see 3 to 4, 5 persons there, and you're like, okay, so why are there that much? It's not all of them there that are HR personnel. HRs know what they're looking out for. The person in your professional field knows what they are looking out for. And in some cases, let's talk of those that are coding, they could want you to review 1 or 2 things in a code, and like they present a code, or if you want to do this, how do you, you know, which language do you use, which language can best do this, and all of that. So that's because they have a professional. And if you want to bobo them, right, you get caught, because definitely there are going to be professionals in that field who most times are even, you know, higher in terms of experience and all of that. So you really can't bobo them. Now, another thing, after you've prepared your CV and all of that, and then the time to apply for the job now comes, you've seen the job. I mean, I remember some time, you know, when I get to put up an advert and somebody is applying for a job, I'll just open my mail and somebody will say, see my CV here. I'm like, really? You just threw it at me? That is how it is being interpreted. See my CV here. For FYI, for your information, really, so the already it gives a very wrong impression of you. So even when you know you have the skills, you have everything, but somebody is like, this kind of person cannot communicate, and the likes of me would not even bother with me. I'm sorry, but most cases I really do not, because I feel that this person is not the kind of person that can work as a team. It's not a kind of person that can communicate. So most times you may still be given opportunities, maybe because some people may be patient enough to like go through your CV and like, okay, maybe I could train this person on soft skills, but do you really need to give them that, option of should we not? Why not? If you have the option of giving them, let's take him. Why are you giving them the option of should we take him or not? So you go ahead and give them the option of let's take him by doing the right thing all the way. So how can you, not just send CV? Some people, they will just send the CV and put their name. Some no subject, nothing. They just push it to you. Some of them even push it with words, scattered and everything. So like this format part, just in case they didn't give you a particular format, please stick to PDF, because most time it will not scatter by the time it gets to the receiver. So it is very, very important to make sure that you do the right thing. So you could say, oh, dear star, dear ma, depending if you know them, or you could say, dear hiring manager, dear hiring team, whatever, and you're like, okay, here is, you could say something like, scroll to the advert seen on maybe social media. You don't really need to indicate, it's not compulsory. I hereby apply for this position as a this with my skills and this, just something brief, right? You don't need to write much, but then in that your write-up, keep it brief, keep it assuring, like give that your recruiter the assurance that I'm like the right fit for it. Very short, right? Of course, you do at the end, you could put your name. These days, people put their phone numbers, because sometimes somebody could review your CV, and like I said, some people may just be in a hurry and they will now check. They did not see up that you've written your phone number. Like, what is this person's number? I don't have time to send email. I can't find the number, and that ends it. But if it's down, maybe after your name, like when you're writing the body of the letter, at the end, the closing part, you could just put your phone number. There's nothing wrong with that. And of course, remember to attach the CV and name your CV properly. Put your name, right, underscore CV. Imabong Ofana underscore CV. CV underscore Imabong Ofana. Name your CV properly. Don't just put my CV. Some people will write my CV, updated CV. I mean, updated CV of who? Because sometimes when recruiters download those CVs to their system, when you download now, sometimes they could have plenty, like maybe 20 or even more downloaded, and then they are seeing my CV. Maybe they have even seen one or two things about you that they wrote down your name, and maybe they want to go and check. They now go, your name, instead of it being on that CV, it's my CV. And they may not be patient enough to open it and check that my CV is you. So it is very important for you to serve the name as your name. Please do that. It's going to really go a long way. The arrangement of your CV is very important. Use bullet points where necessary so that people can be able to, glance through. At a glance, people should get the information. Okay, at a glance, people should be able to see one or two things that are catchy, and they would want to give you the opportunity to come for like an interview where they get to hear you speak. So it is very, very important to get these things documented. Now, like I mentioned earlier, if you're applying for the post of a PM, product manager, for instance, most of the skills you will capture there should be skills that are relating to PM. Not because you are into customer service and maybe other things, you are applying for a PM, you will now be putting, information that are for customer service as a skill. Meanwhile, what we are looking for is a PM. So what are we doing with someone that does not have a PM skill showing anywhere on a CV? That CV is what speaks for you when you're not there. So you better send the right information. on your CV. So it is very, very important to pay attention to all that details. Then please, CV is no way you want to go and show how, I'm not saying it shouldn't be organized and neat, but then if I want someone's CV, I was seeing different colors. The color they're using for the name is different. The color they're using for the heading, subheading, I was just seeing colors, like I was really tired. But then I was looking that it seems this person has the skills, but not everybody is patient. Always remember that not every HR is patient. So make the work easy for them at a glance. They should be able to see your CV, your information at a glance. Through your CV should be catchy, well arranged, detailed, free of grammatical errors. You can use possibly Grammarly or any other tool that can correct grammar. Please don't go and be giving them grammatical errors. They will misinterpret you. Like, you don't have any option. They're going to misinterpret you. Like I said, some people, you may be lucky, and some people may just be patient enough. But do not put them in a state of should we take or should we not take. Always work toward putting your recruiter in a state of we should take. Okay, so quickly we will move on to the next one, right? So I'm just going to show us what the arrangement looks like, right? So of course your profile, your experience, education, of course your skills can just be listed here. So this arrangement is very easy. So at a glance, somebody can be able to see. You don't need to put too much words, but then give people the assurance that you can be able to do the things that they want you to do. It is very, very important to help them. So we've talked about simple mistakes that people make when I was talking earlier. Those mistakes of sending things anyhow without paying attention, sometimes applying for a job without remembering to put CV, and later you now have to resend another mail, including the CV, attaching the CV. So like for me, I usually advise people, when you want to send a mail, you be applying for a job, you can as well just open the email, like to compose. You attach the CV first. After attaching the CV, you put the subject, because those are things that you may forget. Like some people may forget, and it's not really good. So you make sure that your CV are in order, the skills and the requirements they need, you have them. You put your educational details and everything, and then you forward it neatly. Now, when you're writing those paragraphs, like the body of the mail you want to send, don't just jam pack everything together. Try to keep spaces between paragraphs. Just 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs max is very fine. Just short, not long writing, so that at a glance they can just read through what you have, and then they can contact you if they are okay with what they are seeing. Now, where can we get these jobs? Like, so where can I get the job? And some people really, it's like a problem. Sometimes you have the skills, but you just don't know how to get the job. And people are telling you, somebody just got a remote job, and you're like, God, how do I get mine, right? So like there are different platforms, even on some companies' website, you see their career, right? So if you open some company's website, you see career, you can register, drop your CV with them. So because while you are here wondering how you can get a job, really beating yourself, there is an HR, or there are HRs, take recruiters everywhere, under pressure of getting people to do a particular job. Some people, do you know that some HRs are being sacked because they have not been able to secure people to do the job? And they are also careful because they do not just want to bring in people like that to do a job when they are not very good, right? So I know I've conducted an interview, a job advert. I've done a job advert. A lot of persons applied. I took time, I reviewed. At the end of the day, the few we selected, we could not still get somebody for that position, right? We had to give it time and still do another promotion. That's why some recruiters, they will just go to communities, right? That is why I say it's good to be in communities and just post, knowing very well that majority of the people that come from this community would already have the skill and all of that. Some people, based on recommendation, they don't just want to go through all that tedious things while they are going to do the right process of recruitment for you. But most people love to work with recommendation. Oh, you've worked with her before. Oh, really? So how is that attitude? Okay, how is that attitude to work and everything? So while building your profile and your portfolio, I mentioned that your attitude is also important. Sometimes you do things anyhow and you feel that your boss or the people with you, they are not noticing, you are bamboozling them, and in your mind, you are getting away with it. But the time comes for recommendation, and your boss is saying, well, some diplomatic boss will say, well, she's okay, though I think there are still some things she needs. They'll speak English on top of your head, right? Though there are still some things I think she needs to learn, but you could just, well, give her time. There is how they'll give recommendation for you. Even the person that wants to recruit you just use common sense, right? And there is how they'll give recommendation for you, and your recruiter will be too eager to have you in. So at every point where you are, your portfolio is not only online, on site too, your portfolio is counting. There are some people that if I see the job, I cannot refer them. Not because I don't want to refer them, but because they have some other attitudes that I don't want to spoil my, should I say, referral, whatever. Like, I don't want to spoil the way this person sees me, because if I refer someone that does not have the right attitude to work, next time they will not reach out to me, right, and say, oh, we need XYZ person. And I mean, as a HR person, that's one of the ways we make our money. So we have to refer the right person. So even when I know, this guy has the skill, I'm like, no, I cannot refer this guy. It has happened to me so many times. So it's not just me, but a lot of HRs also face the same thing. So what do I do? Interview preparation tips. What mistakes do I avoid? We've actually talked about a lot of mistakes, so I may not really talk more on that. But what do I do is the question. So of course, you have your portfolio, you have your profile, you've applied for the job, following the right steps with the right CV and everything. And then it's almost the deadline. Question now is your interview going to be online or on site? So if your interview is online, what are those things you need to prepare for? One, you have to stay in an environment that is quiet, right? Like free of distraction, so that you don't get distracted and say what you're not supposed to say. Is very important. So you have to consider where you will stay for the interview if it is an online interview. You also have to read about the company, whether it is online interview or on-site. You need to understand what the company you're going there to do. Because if I ask you, okay, so what do you think we do at Glovez? And then you cannot clearly state to me that here in our company, this and this is what we do normally. You cannot, tell me that we are able to do product development here in the company. It gives me the impression that you are not a careful person, right? Which product development is what we do end to end, right? So if you cannot give me that impression that you are someone that is curious, someone that wants to know about me, so it's just like you want to enter into a relationship and you do not even take out time to like find out about this person. Just say, can we be in a relationship? Yes. That's why I like ladies. They'll tell you, please give me time to think about it. While they are thinking, their antennas, their ears is everywhere, trying to get information about the personality of the person. It's still the same scenario here, right? Our antennas and everything is open to be sure that this person knows what he or she is doing. This person knows the company he or she is doing. Because if your should I say your values as a person does not align with the company, or the company perceives you that your value does not align with their company, I'm sorry, you may likely get a rejection mail. There is just no two ways about it. So of course, being in a calm environment, free of distraction, is important. Please power your laptop. We don't want when we are having this a session and the next thing is your laptop is going off. You now look for phone. And at the end of the day, you connect after 20 minutes and only you will be in that meeting. please get the device. If you're using your phone, you're using your laptop, make sure it is ready. And then if you know one or two persons that have done that kind of interview before, ask them questions. So how did it go? How did it this or that? If you know some people in the company, you can ask, so I'm coming for, not like you come and post it, so I'm about going for interview on your WhatsApp status. Is there anybody in this company? No, you don't have to do that. Just check the company name. If you know one or two persons that work there, like people you could, just maybe ask questions. But you have to also be very careful because it's dicey. So you don't get information from people that do not like you. So like, I mean, this is a very sincere session, and we want to sincerely guide you into landing the job and getting prepared for the things ahead. So now also, while preparing for your interview, you can just jot down some things, right? Just a little jot down, maybe just to help you remember things. I'm not saying you write a note that you use and read. I am this, I am from that, I am no, like just small jotting. So that means most of these skills should be internal, right? So that if they ask you things, if you say you worked on this project, right, you should be able to say things about that project confidently, without stammering, without, I'm not saying you cannot sometimes, but then it should not look like you don't know what you're saying. You should not allow tension and all of that to catch up with you. So it is very, very important that you are psychologically prepared, health-wise and all. Make sure you rest well and get ready for the day, right? Some people come for interview, and I don't know whether they are trying to impress. Like they will now talk plenty. They just ask you a simple question. You are now talking, you will now go to another thing entirely. And I mean, sometimes I know I have interview, and when I'm done, I'm like, I'll not ask somebody, what was the person saying? Like, I'm trying to even understand what you were saying, because you were talking too much. And at the same time, you shouldn't just talk too little. They'll ask you this thing, you just say, yes, this, and like, just make it too brief. Be moderate, right? Communicate clearly, concise, and be confident about what you're saying. So ensure you have a good internet, very important. And then also be mentally, balanced, right? So one of the things that could help you to be mentally balanced is to let go of whatever rejection mail. Maybe some people, because I've been getting rejection mails a lot, like, oh God, is this going to be another one? So just let go of such thoughts and focus on the moment. Just be positive around the whole interview and be hopeful, right, that you can be able to get a job. So these are the things, and I really do hope that I've communicated clearly those things that you need to know. So at this point, I want to say a very big thank you to you for staying this long with me. And I hope that I've been able to clearly help you understand those things that were our objective, which our objective here, we said that we want to be able to make you understand the need for your profile optimization, how you can structure your CV, how you can prepare for it, for interview, and how you can avoid your mistakes, and how you can get started with job search, which for the job search, apart from the company, we have freelancing platforms like Upwork, freelance.com. We have some other ones, of course, you could just check up for. And sometimes you could ask people that are ahead of you, how far, guys, your company recruiting? Or I'm open. Let people know that you're open to job opportunities, so that when it comes, they'll reach out to you and see how you can be able to land those jobs. Okay, so at this point, if you have any question, please go ahead. I am here to do my best to guide you through this journey. And also, I want to thank the entire team that set up this for us to be able to learn from each other. Thank you very much. Over to you, Myra.
Thank you so much. That was really such an insightful session. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you too.
All right. The information you shared on optimizing our profiles for job readiness was very valuable. I gained so much from it myself.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that everyone else gained as much. So if you have questions, please drop them in the chats and she would address them for you. Yeah, also I'll be dropping a link in the chat, so please do fill it just to get feedback on the session. Yeah. Please check the chats and fill the form to be highly appreciated. Waiting for your questions as well. Please drop your questions. Do you have any questions for her? As you mentioned, Umabong, it's very important for every one of us. Like we're looking to, get a job or even want to move from one route to another or switch organizations. It's really important for you to maximize your visibility and credibility, as you mentioned. And there's so many tools for us to make use of. Like you have your LinkedIn, especially even your Twitter, where you can share your knowledge. What have you learned so far? Wherever you're at, even if you're just looking to start your career, you need to put yourself out there. It's really important. And you might feel that, oh, if you're just starting your career, you don't really know much. What do you want to share? But where you are at now, there are things that you already know. And even your journey, as Emma Bong mentioned, like you're learning something, you've learned it, share it with people, even if it's just basic knowledge. There's someone out there that doesn't even know that basic knowledge. You think that it's just basic. So yeah, also when you share your knowledge, you're also helping someone as well. So what do you think, Mabong, about us doing like a challenge of some sorts where people would share some form of knowledge about what they are currently doing? I think someone mentioned, for instance, that she's currently into design. It can be you sharing your knowledge about UI UX design or any field, nothing restrictive, and tag us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and share you know what you are looking for. That's what do you think, Mabong?
Okay, so sharing your knowledge and all of that is very, very important. And if we are to do a challenge, it's going to be a very interesting one because, in a way, it's going to like keep you accountable because you're like, oh, I want to complete this challenge. I want to see myself reach 30 days. So for you to do that effectively, you could consider using a social media calendar, or you could just create a calendar of, okay, even if you want to use something simple, maybe just a table on a Google Doc, right? On this
Yeah.
day, I'm going to post about this. On this day, I'm going to post about that. And like you have it all down for the 30 days if you're going to do a 30 days challenge. And then you can now start writing little content about it. Of course, when you're posting, you can use your images, like your pictures. Maybe you can use pictures representing what you're saying. So we can actually start that challenge. And I'm totally in. And if we have people who support our motion, of course, we can get going.
Yeah, that would be that would be really good. So we're trying the challenge to everyone. 30 days, a 30 days challenge where you share your knowledge on LinkedIn or Twitter. Either one of them will sure to repost, so your post can reach a larger audience as well. And who knows, you might find your recruiter online. So I'll be dropping our LinkedIn handle on the chats, as well as Imabong's LinkedIn profile as well. So you can follow Imabong as well, and tag us in your posts. I would also drop her other social media accounts on the group so that you can follow as well, get first-hand information about other master classes like this that will be coming up for you to learn and grow. And then also our WhatsApp community so that you can also connect with other people, find people who are also in your career path or even other people. Connecting with people, it's actually very good in building your profile as well. We don't know where the next opportunity can come from. So check the chats. And also, based on what Emma Bonga has shared, you can practice some of them to, improve your CV and share with us on social media as well. You can drop it in our in the group chats. If you join our WhatsApp community, you can drop it. We'll look at a few of them and review and give you feedback. Just there can be sort of like a general feedback based on what we notice, and maybe a few people will be privileged to get theirs, depending on the number of volume we get anyway. But we're sure to get feedback if you share your CV on the group and maybe get a few things that you can improve on to improve your prospects, to improve your profile for job readiness. So please check the chats and check out the check out our social media accounts and follow us. So do you have any questions? Yeah, Emma, but I think we have. Do you have a
Okay.
question?
Any question? I can't seem to see any here.
Thank you for this information.
Okay. Someone
Yeah,
say hi. My name is Claire, a student. I want to learn how to work on my profile, on my LinkedIn profile that can help me get a freelance job into UI UX design. So say you're already a step ahead. Why? Because you've been able to identify the area you want to go into. And of course, this area is one of the very great career paths now that people are earning a lot from. So what do you do in terms of UI UX design? I know that most of these freelance platforms they usually ask for like your LinkedIn profile. I'm not saying you cannot make other of your social media pages like talk about your design and all. So for yours, the journey is quite easier because you've identified your area. So all you need to do is write about it. When you do some designs, if they are not client designs that did not grant you access, maybe if you're working on a client design, you want to post maybe a screenshot of it, maybe one or two, please seek for permission first. Do not just post people's work like that because it becomes a problem later on. So if you have some work that you've done that you can show for you, just write about it. Maybe if you're working on a particular project and you experience a challenge, you could talk about it and how you were able to solve that problem. Because you need to join communities that are doing this already so you can be in trend with the new pattern of designs. Then also for freelancing platform, which you basically ask how you can get a job, freelancing jobs. So you use those platforms, Upwork, freelance.com. I think there's another one. I'm really Fiverr, yeah. So you can look up to those platforms and check. But then before you register in those platforms, there are some tips you could read about on online, you could read about on YouTube, you could just take some short courses. Why I'm saying that is so when you enter, you will know how to really go about it. And also, I think you reach out to the team, you can see a way to assist you. And maybe we have other sessions that we will do, especially for that, depending on what the team wants. We could let you know. But I mean, this is a really great skill, and there are a lot of opportunities open for you. Okay, so I think I don't know
Yep,
if
the
that's well
question.
understood, Claire. Did you get that? Hello? Hello? Okay. So I
Yeah,
don't
you
know
can
if
drop if you
Madam.
can. Yeah, drop your comment. Okay, yeah, she said she did. She did.
Okay, okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, we have another question here. Is reference, bio data, interest, or hobbies really necessary when optimizing profile? Because some recruiters need these details, especially the bio data. I've had a personal experience. That's from Ekene.
Okay, great, Ekemini. Yeah, this is question that a lot of people usually ask, is biodata important? And like I said, things keep changing for the modern, HR, because there is this rule in HR, people are not supposed to judge you by your, should I say, tribe, or maybe your age, and a whole lot of other things, in as much as you're within the age you could work. So recently people avoid putting their dates, maybe, and some other key details about them, right? But then it's usually dicey. I know some people avoid dates of birth. It depends on the company you're working for. For some international jobs, they really do not care much about that bio data as such. So far, they have your name, your details. During the interview, they could get those things that they need. Now, the other thing why people have stopped putting it is because it also makes some people to be biased about something. So take it that your recruiter is from another religion and you are a Christian and maybe not from the same religion. Some people will just say, because he's a Christian, I don't want, and it just and you didn't even have the opportunity to move to the next level. So some people say, oh, she's this tribe, and so that's why people take out the whole your state, I mean your where you're from. People take out the date of birth. So it could help the recruiter focus on what they really need, like what is very important. But then sometimes it's really dicey because me personally, I always like to know what age range is this person. So if you're applying for a job and you see the one that they say not more than this age, please put the age bracket, put the date of birth there on your CV. Those ones are out for it, they will check for it. So it's important. Now for interest and hobbies, well, some people say it's not really necessary, but then it also could be important because it helps people to know that, oh, you're not really really this professional or professional, you have a social life. So when you are putting the hobbies, of course you know what you consider as interest and hobbies. So likes of CV, yes, you can put it, but like if it's a resume which is shorter, you really do not need to put that. Then for reference, there is no particular, it must be, it must not, there's nothing like you have to put reference or not. You can choose to put your reference, which is fine. I mean, I want to think you're talking of referees, right? So you can choose to put that, or you can also choose to say based on request. There is nothing wrong with that. If they need it, of course, they'll request for it. So sometimes it's just to make your details brief. So that's just it. Just make sure that you have a good profile so that people will be able to see the details they need and possibly include the link to your maybe LinkedIn profile while applying so they can get other details about you. So I don't know if that is fine, Ekemini. Okay. Can you hear me, Myra?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. 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 So any other question?
Any other questions before we wrap up? Can drop your questions in the chat. Okay. Okay, so in the absence of no other questions, this is where we bring our session on optimizing your profile for job readiness to a close. Thank you so much, Uma Bong, for such an insightful session. We really do appreciate it. Everyone, I'm sure that everyone else learns one or two things that you can, apply to your job search and optimizing your profile. You covered, you shared a lot of tips and strategies that we can make use of, and they were really valuable. The session is recorded, so in a few days, you'll be getting the recording of the session and yeah, via your email. And would share more details to via email about how to participate in the challenge. So be expectant and also join our, yeah, please check the chat for the links I shared. If you have not done that yet, please fill in the form that is pinned in the chat and also check out our social media accounts, the list of social media accounts that I shared with you so that you will be updated when we have other master classes like this and other useful information that you can use to grow your career. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Wish you the best of luck in your career. Bye everyone.
Thank you, Mario. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mwabang.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.